It's 2030. You wake up not to an alarm clock, but when you're actually rested. There's no commute to rush to, no boss breathing down your neck, no performance review looming. Instead, every month money appears in your account. Not a lot, but enough to cover your basic needs: food, shelter, healthcare. This isn't science fiction. It's universal basic income, and it might be closer than you think. To understand why we're even talking about UBI, we need to understand what's happening to work itself. The numbers are staggering. Oxford researchers estimate that 47% of U.S. jobs could be automated within the next 2 decades. We're not just talking about factory workers anymore. Radiologists, truck drivers, accountants, paralegals,
For calling support,
customer
please hold on
service
one moment. I see the
representatives.
issue now.
Even creative professions like graphic design and copywriting are feeling the heat from AI. The difference between this technological revolution and previous ones is the speed and scope. The Industrial Revolution displaced agricultural workers, but it took generations. This is happening in years, not decades. But here's where it gets complicated. Technology has always eliminated jobs, but it's also created new ones. Blacksmiths became auto mechanics. Switchboard operators became software engineers. So why is this time different? The problem is the math doesn't add up anymore. We're destroying jobs faster than we're creating them. And the new jobs that do emerge, they require specialized skills that take years to develop. And by the time workers retrain, those jobs might be automated too. Enter universal basic income. The concept is deceptively simple. Every citizen receives a regular, unconditional cash payment from the government. No strings attached, no work requirements, no means testing. Let's say it's $1,000 a month in the US. That's $12,000 a year. Not enough to live lavishly, but enough to keep you above the poverty line. You get it whether you're a billionaire or unemployed, whether you're looking for work or pursuing your passion, whether you're 18 or 80. Sounds radical, I know, but the UBI is actually an old idea. Thomas Paine proposed it in 1797. Martin Luther King Jr. championed it. Even conservative economist Milton Friedman supported a version of it. But does it actually work? Well, we have some answers. In Finland, from 2017 to 2018, 2,000 unemployed people received €560 per month, no questions asked. In Kenya, entire villages have been receiving basic income since 2016. Stockton, California, ran a program giving 125 residents $500 monthly. Canada, Spain, and numerous other countries have run their own experiments.
Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
And here's the surprising part. Across multiple studies, most people didn't stop working. Employment rates stayed roughly the same. What changed was the quality of work people chose. They left toxic jobs, started businesses, went back to school, spent more time with family, mental health improved, hospitalizations decreased, kids stayed in school longer. The money wasn't wasted on drugs or alcohol. That's a myth the data repeatedly disproves. But UBI isn't without serious criticism, and we need to address them head-on. The price tag to institute UBI would be astronomical. In the U.S., giving every adult $12,000 annually would cost around $3 trillion per year. That's nearly the entire current federal budget. Where would that money come from? The math is genuinely challenging. Proponents suggest several funding mechanisms. First, eliminate existing welfare programs. Social Security, food stamps, housing assistance, Consolidate it all into one payment. That saves administrative costs and covers a significant portion. Second, tax the benefits of automation. Companies replacing workers with robots and AI could pay higher corporate taxes or a robot tax. Third, a value-added tax on goods and services, particularly from tech companies that benefit most from automation. Fourth, wealth taxes on the ultra-rich or carbon taxes on pollution. But here's the problem. Even combining all these approaches, the numbers are tight. And that's assuming you can get all these taxes passed politically, which is a massive assumption. Then there's inflation. If everyone suddenly has an extra $1,000 per month, won't landlords just raise rent by $1,000? Studies suggest some inflation is likely, but not dollar for dollar. The key is increasing housing supply and maintaining competition. Still, in already expensive cities, this is a legitimate concern. But beyond economics, UBI forces us to confront something deeper. What is work for? For most of human history, we've tied our identity, our purpose, our social status to our jobs. What do you do? Is one of the first questions we ask when meeting someone. But what happens when traditional employment becomes optional or unavailable? Humans need purpose. We need to feel productive and valued. The question is whether that has to come from a traditional job, or whether we can find meaning in other pursuits: caregiving, art, community service, learning, innovation. UBI optimists see a renaissance. Freed from survival mode, people pursue education, start businesses, create art, volunteer, care for children and elderly relatives, all work that matters but isn't currently compensated. Critics see idleness and social decay. They point to studies showing unemployment often leads to depression, substance abuse, and social isolation, even when money isn't the issue. The truth is probably somewhere in between. Some people will thrive, others will struggle. The question is whether we're willing to support people through that transition. So what does 2030 actually look like? Here are 3 scenarios, each plausible. Automation has eliminated 30% of jobs, but UBI has been implemented globally. Most people work part-time or in creative fields. There's an explosion in entrepreneurship, art, and scientific research. Poverty is nearly eliminated. People are happier, healthier, more educated. The 4-day work week is standard. Communities thrive because people have time to invest in them. Some countries have implemented UBI, others haven't. In nations with UBI, there's stability and innovation, but also growing inequality between those who work and those who don't. In nations without it, automation has created massive unemployment, social unrest, and economic instability. The gap between rich and poor nations has widened dramatically. UBI exists in limited forms, maybe a few $100s a month only in certain regions, with lots of conditions. Automation continues, but more slowly than predicted. Most people still work traditional jobs, but they're increasingly precarious and low-paying. UBI helps, but it's not transformative. We're in a messy, uncomfortable transition with no clear endpoint. So what's the truth about universal basic income? The truth is that it's not a magic solution. It won't automatically create purpose or community. It won't solve inequality if it's not paired with other policies. It won't prevent automation from disrupting millions of lives. But it might be a necessary safety net for a fundamentally changing economy. Because whether we implement UBI or not, the automation revolution is happening. The question isn't whether jobs will be disrupted. They already are. The question is whether we'll support people through that disruption. The truth is that UBI challenges our deepest assumptions about work, value, and human nature. Do people only work because they have to? Or do we seek purpose and contribution naturally? We don't fully know yet. The truth is that the pilots show promise, but they're small-scale and short-term. A national, permanent UBI is a different beast entirely, with different challenges and consequences. 2030 might not be a world without jobs, but it will almost certainly be a world with fewer jobs, different jobs, and more people asking, what is work, really? What is a life well lived? Universal basic income might be part of the answer, or it might create as many problems as it solves. But one thing is certain. We can't afford to wait until the crisis hits to have this conversation. The future of work is being decided right now. The question is whether we'll shape it intentionally or let it happen to us. What do you think? Is UBI the answer to automation or a well-intentioned experiment that could backfire spectacularly? The truth is, we're all about to find out. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a thumbs up and join the community. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.